They say where the legends come from. You know what a hero looks like. Pretty little flower, won't you sit back down and go play nice? So keep talking, keep laughing. One day you wish you had it. Other people on fire, fire. Maybe it's time they meet their dragon. If you're gonna hold me down, you're not gonna let me in. Into your castle walls, none of you can keep them. 'Cause if I
Hello and welcome to another episode of League to the Max, or whatever. I am your host, Brian Andesian Espinoza, and I'm joined by my wonderful good friend and co-host, disembodied producer, the Dr. Manhattan of this wonderful little experiment we have going on, Mr. Eric Watkins. How you doing this evening, sir?
You know, you can't just sit and drop pre-air bombshells like you've done not once but twice and expect me not to just want to smack you.
Look, it's not my fault that it's the off season, okay? It's just like any other regular sports off season. People do shit, okay? Like stranger things have happened. I feel like that's a recurring thing on this broadcast.
But do you understand? Okay, I've got multiple podcasts going on. I'm not supposed to have news developments for every single one of them in the same fucking week. I can only deal with so much here.
Look, it's not my fault that the news that we're going to get to in a moment happened on our broadcast. I'm sorry that Alec Baldwin accidentally shot somebody. I don't know what other fucking news is going on.
Ronald Koeman got fired from Barcelona, so we're talking about that on Soccer to the Max on Sunday. We got big NFL news that we're going to be talking on the kickoff tomorrow night. Things that have developed in the past week.
Oh, did you hear about the guy that got Did you hear about the guy that got Brady's 600th TD ball, and they had to bribe him about $100K worth back to get it back from him?
That's actually going to be my news story that I will go in depth for the kickoff, which again, all of these podcasts you can find right here at the W2M Network. If you happen to be looking at us live on Facebook, Twitter, and on Twitch, thank you. Continue to follow us on Twitch. Continue to subscribe to us on YouTube, as we'll have our video podcast there. And, of course, for those of the oral persuasion, yes, Spotify, Stitcher, Spreaker, Podbean, CastBox, Overcast, Apple Pods, Google Pods, iHeartRadio. If you name it, we're most likely on it. So yeah, I'm going to be talking about a lot of stuff on all of those various forms of media over the coming days.
Yes, there's a lot of news going on in our world right now, regardless of what persuasion you want to listen to. Shall we get into the big news of the day here for League?
I mean, we may as well.
So I've mentioned before that this is technically the off season, right? Like, there's worlds going on, but most teams around the world are looking at and thinking about roster changes and spring 22 and what they want to do with their roster, right? Because the magical contract day for most players throughout the world is roughly 2.5-3 weeks time from now, November 15th. TSM put out a tweet today with huge news that everybody is just jumped on, including us. In short, long time resident TSM player turned coach turned co-owner turned streamer Bjergsen is leaving TSM to go to a currently unknown team. So two big things here. First of all, right? One, Bjergsen Bjergsen is coming out of retirement, right? Like we all know, he retired at the end of what was it, 2019, and said, "I'm done playing." He ended up coaching TSM for spring 2020. He is apparently gotten restless and has decided to come out of retirement, right? Two, he's not coming out of retirement to play for TSM. Not that TSM didn't try. Apparently, according to Reginald, TSM's one of TSM's co-owners and the TSM founder. And yes, I'm aware that they're called TSM FTX. No, I don't give two shits about the FTX crap. I'm sorry. Sorry, not sorry. If Riot isn't recognizing it, I'm not recognizing it.
Remember, send all hate mail about these moments to s.garmer@gmail.com. Send all hate tweets to @theandesian.
Yeah, I had a feeling you'd say that. Hey, at least I don't have to do the hate mail plug for once, right?
Well, I mean, you did set me up perfectly for it, so
no, TSM FTX, which is TSM. Reginald came out on a tweet along with what is he finally the co-owner or one of the co-owners, Parth, and they basically said they offered Bjergsen what I imagine probably is the most lucrative contract they've ever offered anybody in North America. I wouldn't be surprised. But Bjergsen turned it down and is reportedly going to a different team. Now, in this reported news, right, Travis Gafford came out. Not only did he call this yesterday, right? Travis Gafford released a video yesterday that he claims he recorded a couple days ago saying that Bjergsen was going to leave TSM. He has come out with the video this afternoon reacting to this news and saying that there is a rumor that Jensen from over at Team Liquid will reportedly be role swapping and moving to the bot lane, and Bjergsen may come over and play for Team Liquid. If that's the case, that news is huge, right? It's perks all over again, right? Star 80 carry turns mid laner, carries team to world championships and barely loses, right? I don't know if Jensen's going to make a good 80 carry, right? Like this may be a rebuilding split. If what Travis is saying is correct, right? I don't know how I feel about it. What I want to know is with Bjergsen coming out of retirement, does Doublelift come out of retirement, right? Like those two are some of the greatest names in North America. There's a lot of records that Doublelift holds that Bjergsen has tried to touch, but has always come second in. And I'm wondering if now that Bjergsen is going to be playing again, he gets to make progress towards some of these all-time records and maybe, take one or two away from Doublelift. Does Doublelift consider coming out of retirement? Like that's my hot take on all this. I'd love to see Doublelift come out of retirement and be like, yeah, okay, let's do it. Best AD carry in North America. Let's go. I want to go back to Worlds. I want to win a championship, right? Like, really, really hot fucking take, but maybe Sven leaves Cloud9. There's rumors that Sven's looking to go back to EU, right? So, what if we see Cloud9 Doublelift? Jesus Christ, that would, you want to talk about, crazy roster moves. I mean, Bjergsen alone leaving TSM is like Kobe Bryant leaving the Lakers for the Celtics almost, right? Like just Kobe Bryant leaving the Lakers. I mean, if he goes over to Team Liquid, then yeah, that's him going to the Celtics. But I don't know. That's that's pretty big news coming out of the TSM camp today. We haven't really heard anything out of Bjergsen or really any other team for that matter. Checking Bjergsen's Twitter profile, he has not updated anything on his Twitter profile to remove. He still has his TSM banner in his Twitter profile. He did update his bio. He did retweet the TSM announcement. And his statement comes, and I'll read it here. I believe Dr. Manhattan has stepped away for a moment. We can't get that on screen. I apologize. But it says, and I quote, "Moving on after 8 years at TSM, this is the place I grew up, and I'll be forever grateful for them taking a chance on me as a young player in 2013. Love you all, and excited to show you what is next for me." Again, this is pretty fucking huge, right? Like, Bjergsen was there from the original days of League, right? Like, one of the widely regarded as at one of the top 3 mid laners of all time in North America, right? Like, I think you could probably argue it's him and Jensen, right? Like, those are some of the 2 best mid laners North America is produced, and ironically, they're both not American or Canadian for that matter. At least I don't believe so. I know Bjergsen is from, I believe it's Denmark. Yeah, Jensen is also from Denmark. So yeah, 2 of the best North American folks ever, and they're not even from North America. There's got to be some irony in that, but they've been here. They're OGs. You got to give them respect for. You got to give them the respect that they've earned and deserved there. Bjergsen has had a hell of a career. I think he's going to have a hell of a career wherever he ends up going. I'm interested to find out where. Obviously, there's a couple of options I think that are very clearly on the table. I don't know where he ends up. I mean, obviously, Travis Gafford reporting that there's a rumor he goes to to Team Liquid. We'll see, but that is our big news desk feature on today's episode. Is that news? Like I said, I don't know if this comes through. And I apologize. I think it might not be. I'm checking something here. Actually, no, I do apologize. It wasn't Travis Gafford breaking the news on Team Bjergsen and Team Liquid. It's Upcomer Esports. My apologies to them. Editorial correction there. Upcomer Esports is the ones that are claiming Team Liquid they have sources telling them that Team Liquid is talking to Bjergsen. If you're a TSM fan, you've got to be like completely devastated right now, right? Like, I've never been a TSM org fan. I was a Doublelift fan, so I was a TSM fan while Doublelift was a part of the org because I like Doublelift the player. I've never been too huge on TSM as an org, I'll be honest with you. But if you're a TSM as an org fan, you have got to be like... You got to be feeling like shit right now, right? Like, your star, like your brand identity, right? Like, that's really, there's no other way to look at it, right? Like, Bjergsen is the core part of your brand's identity and he is leaving. Right? Like, you don't even have to talk about the fact that he isn't even playing anymore, right? That's just the added insult to injury portion. Is not only, is your guy leaving, right? The guy that's at the core of your brand identity and has been since the foundation of your organization, right? Not only is he leaving, he's going to play for another team, right? You have to face him, right? A TSM that actually has to face their former star carry during the regular season coming up, right? Like that's pretty huge, So, but that's our news segment for today. Unfortunately, due to some scheduling conflicts that happened this week, we have not been able to bring you the daily deep dives like we originally scheduled for. So we're changing up our semifinals coverage here at W2M Network just slightly.
So now, after all this time, of course, you have the video up there.
Very intentional with their staff and player changes. Over this past year, our players, our staff.
You were way late and $1 short, sir. I was saying that, Bjergsen, I was pretty much talking about Bjergsen's reply to the news. Like, we're off of that segment now. You were zoned out or something.
No, I wasn't zoned out. I had to be called away. Hence, did you not see the chat?
I did. I was trying to cover for you. Jeez, way to fucking blow it.
Then why did you say zoned out? You're like, hey, had to step away from the minute. Damn it, we don't have to use gimmicks for that particular part. The only thing is if you're not there to begin with, being on assignment.
Oh. This gimmick infringement will not be seen tonight, so that we may bring you this feature W2M Network presentation of T1 versus Damn One Gaming, a deep dive. You see what I did there?
Yes, I do see what you did there. Be prepared to go through that spiel again tonight. Just saying.
I'm sure I'm gonna have to do that spiel a couple of times tonight. Because next over most of these internet radio stations, life is like a game show here on the W2M network. Do you see what I did there?
Damn it, it's not even here. What the ever living? All right, please hold.
I don't get why I got a monkey for that. And why I was going to say, why the hell am I suddenly on the kickoff?
Because again, for some reason, the monkey doesn't translate to these particular things and a lot of different technical stuff. Even though it was factual, it still deserved a monkey.
What? That I pulled, next over most of these CBS stations?
Yes.
Shrug. Anyways, yeah, so we got some games to talk about, right? Today we're going to be going into a pretty decent deep dive. We're not going to be making this a crazy long episode, unfortunately, because we cannot afford here at the W2M Network to give up all of the daytime programming schedule for this show to go on. Yes, I'm full of game show references tonight.
Oh God, it begins. It begins. Okay, I'm prepared for this. At least it's you and not someone else.
Oh, I'm sure he's gonna be double worse when he joins us on Life is Like a Game Show.
Oh God.
I just call it a hunch. You could call it my 63% group's accuracy rating hunch, or my 75% quarterfinals accuracy rating.
Yeah. You know what? If I didn't have to change freaking you want to be
You're like self-censoring because your mic's cutting out, and it's funny because I know you're not trying to do it intentionally, but your microphone is cutting out every time you try to say a swear word. There's a second monkey for tonight. All right, I'm on a roll, folks. Let's talk about Damwon Kia versus T1, right? Because
long-looking motherfucker. Wait, what?
Come over there and kick your ass, you little.
Oh, kick your ass just like my hockey team did to both of yours so far this season. Good to know. Good to know.
I'm reminded of a particular saying, right? Fuck your couch!
Yes, for those of you who expected us to be on the rails tonight, I'm around. You had way too high expectations.
Yeah. Let me say that again just one more time so you can get that clear, right? Fuck your couch! You rich ass motherfuckers, you can afford another one.
All right. Well, we got our Chappelle Show quote out of the way for the evening.
Where was I?
T1 versus Damwon Kia Gaming.
Oh, yeah, right. We can't even get through the introduction bit properly. You know, I'm going to sit here and try to introduce Faker versus Showmaker. And you're going to tell me something about how, you know, one of my other sports teams has done something stupid. And actually, no. I know what we haven't talked about yet on this show. Alec Baldwin.
Yeah. We're saving that one. We're saving that one.
All right. So, hit the fan here. There we go. Welcome to the Life is. Oh, wait a minute. That's the wrong damn show. Wow, I actually went it like I wasn't even trolling. I actually said Life is like a game show. Jesus, you'd think it was a Thursday night at 9:00 on the dot or something. Welcome to League to the Max or whatever, with a lot of emphasis on the or whatever portion this evening. Special coverage of League World Championships 2021. Tonight we are going to be covering part one of a two-part mini micro series. We're going to be talking about the two semifinal matchups, right? That will be taking place this weekend. Tonight on the menu, we have Damwon Kia versus T1. This will be good, right?
Well, I mean, why don't we start by getting their path to the semifinals? How T1 and Damwon both got here.
But we haven't even talked about the teams yet.
Well, we're going to do that, aren't we?
Yeah, maybe.
What do you mean, maybe? I mean, this was her plan after all. I'm just saying, whenever they do a deep dive, when you have some big matchup, it's
yes. I was stalling because I was trying to look up something to make sure that I have it correct. Jeez Louise, right? All right, so we've got both of these teams, right? So in the T1 corner, in the top lane, we have Kana. In the jungle, we have Owner. In the mid lane, highly regarded as the greatest League of Legends player of all time, the unkillable Demon King, Faker. In the bot lane, we have Gumayusi and his support Carrier. And in the other corner, weighing in at the defending world champions.
Oh my God, you're doing this and you can't even get that bit right.
I give no fucks today, man. You want to do the bit then? You want to do the bit? You rich motherfucker, you can afford another one. I don't know where the hell this came from, folks. I promise you I've had no alcohol today. Apparently I don't even need any.
Well, I mean, I was thinking about getting some of my vodka. Ooh, that reminds me. I gotta check in on my cold brew once we're done with this. Yes, leave it to me to cold brew coffee with the distilled vodka.
That sounds delicious.
Get damn right it does. And especially this like a whipped cream. Well, it's not entirely whipped because, recipe and everything, but a nice cream.
I used to, because I finished the damn bottle, had a double espresso vodka by a brand called Van Gogh. It was good.
Well,
I had that bottle for a long time.
Well, what you can do with that, if you ever find yourself in a mixture, I will send you the specific recipe. Get some instant ground coffee, like Cafe Bustelo. 20 grams of that, 200 grams of sugar, and about 100 milliliters of ice cold water.
Okay.
Get a balloon whisk and get it into a nice whipped cream. You will thank me later.
Okay.
And that was Recipe Talk on League to the Max or whatever. I tried doing that, but for some reason, and even adding a little bit of vodka to that, it ended up a bit too thick. But even with the right whisk, keeping it nice and cold in the freezer, it's a bit heavier, but you still get that cream-like consistency. Very good for topping off stuff.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Now, shall we continue?
Yes.
In the other corner, weighing in at the LCK Summer Champions and defending 2020 League of Legends World Champions,
Okay, stop. Do you really still have to use the weighing in part? You could have just skipped that and just say, and in the other corner, you're undisputed, defending world champions. Something like that.
Okay, do you want to go for take 3 then?
Yeah, may as well. Jeepers. Folks, this is what I get for being an executive producer around here. This is the talent that I have to work with.
So the talent's the problem now. You know what? Go suck a lemon.
You feel better now.
I wasn't feeling bad. I was just tired.
Okay, so shall we try this again?
Yes.
Take 3.
Take 3. And in the other corner, the reigning undisputed world champion and LCK Summer Split champion, Damwon Kia. In the top lane, we have Khan. Not that kind of Khan. More like Star Trek Wrath of Khan. In the jungle, we have Canyon. In the mid lane, we have Showmaker, a kid who, by all measures, looks to be the next Faker, but is Faker ready to hand over the crown quite yet? In the bot lane, we have Ghost and his support Barrel.
See, now was that so hard?
All right, shut your ass. You rich motherfucker, you can buy another one. All right. now that we got the rosters out of the way, right? We did forget one important thing, right? The coaching staff, right? Got to have a good coach, right? For T1, we have Stardust is the interim head coach, followed by assistant coach Moment. And for Damn One Kia, 3-time world championship winning coach Coma. And his assistant coach Pu Mandu. I don't believe he's there with them in Korea, though. I believe it's just Coma is in Korea. All right. So, stacked rosters, obviously, right? Like, I think out of everybody here, let's see. I'm looking at a table here real quick because I'm trying to think, right? So, let's see. Most of these kids are rookies, right? Like, I got a tweet from, or there was a tweet from earlier. I'm gonna have to pull it back up here real quick. Cadrol. Cadrol sent out a tweet after watching a video, right? Like, and I this is gonna probably shock you as much as it actually shocked me, right? So when Faker won his first world championship, right?
Right.
His bot lane was 10 years old. Or it was either 10 or 11. Either way. Fucking young, right?
Yeah.
Trying to find this damn tweet because I know I remember watching him on stream go and tweet it out. He might have deleted the tweet.
No surprise, depending on the nature of the tweet.
Oh no, that was the tweet. He literally just tweeted about the two guys' age, right? I remember seeing him on stream put it out. He may have deleted it or reverted it or whatever, right? But Faker is leading a team full of rookies, right? Like, okay, so let's see here. Faker has been playing on T1 and has been playing League since 2013, right? Faker has 588 career games, not including playoff games, like Worlds, etc., right? So you add in all of the Worlds games and appearances and other stuff that he's done, the guy's well over 600 games, right? Like well over like maybe 650, right? 650, possibly 700.
Still a hell of a lot of games under your belt.
Yeah. Compare that to the next most experienced player on that team, which is Teddy, who started in 2017 with the Jin Air Green Wings, which have always been, unfortunately, a joke of a team. He has 390 games under his belt, and this is all coming from, these numbers are coming from LOL Fandom Wikipedia page.
So you're talking nearly double.
Yeah, give or take. Or at least 2/3.
Yeah.
I'd say 2/3. Cuz started in summer of 2017 rather than the spring. He's got about 253 games under his belt. He's their sub mid laner. Teddy is their sub bot laner, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's take a look at some of their let's take a look at the starting guys though, right? Like we got subs that are experienced, but let's take a look at the starting guys, right?
Yeah, you're starting 5, how they're stacking up.
So let's look at Kyria. Kyria is the second most experienced player in this org. Started in spring of 2020 with Dragon X, right? He's got 179 games under his belt.
That's
Best result that they got, the Dragon X as a team has gotten 5th place in LCK spring playoffs. So they're a middle of the run team.
Okay.
Right?
Uh-huh.
The rest of the team are actual rookies. Gumayusi started this year in spring. 46 games under his belt, and that's not even counting Worlds, right? Owner, right? Also this year, 30 games under his belt. Korea is a region that's known to sub people in and out as needed.
Even I know that.
How many times have I said how many disembodied voices are around here?
Hey, the man just got home. He wants food. Do you blame him?
Of course I don't blame him, but you just
Stop humming Silver Scrapes. That's not till Saturday.
See, this is what you started.
I'm trying to be relevant.
He's trying to be relevant.
He'll be relevant right after this show. That'll be his time to shine and get live reactions.
Viewer says, hold your horses till lilacs.
Yeah, it's going to be a good episode tonight.
Oh, if the start of this episode has been any indication of that.
You even have water bottles handy. That's the first sign.
Yeah, there's a couple. Yeah, no, this team is entirely rookies, right? Like, the thing is they're all good, right? Obviously, they wouldn't be where they're at right now. They wouldn't be in the semifinals if they weren't good, right?
This is why I say, hey, why don't we look at both teams' path to the semifinals? But no.
Okay, well, let's look at T1's path to the semifinals then. You rich motherfucker, you can afford another one. All right, so path to the semifinals, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, first of all, let's talk about the path through their, region, right?
Right.
So, T1, first seed out of the 2021 regional finals, right? They 3-2 to Hanwha Life, which, as we all know, exited the tournament in very undramatic fashion in quarterfinals. Actually, no, I can't really say that. That was a good series. In fact, I think that was probably the best series out of all the quarterfinals, right? Like, who in the hell thought that was going to be the series that went 5 games, right? Like,
mm-hmm. And wasn't the
no. Sorry. No. What am I saying? No, T1 3-0'd them. They played T1 again, and I was thinking of EDG RNG. My bad.
I was about to say that was the only series that went past Game 3.
Yeah. No. No. So yeah. No. Hanwha Life. They beat him again in no short order. So that's how they got to Worlds, right? That's how they got their seed. They won. They were number 1 seed coming out of Korea, right? Or at least number 2 seed. Because if I'm correct, Damwon Kia is the number 1 seed out of Korea. Yeah. They 3-0'd they 3-1'd T1. So number 2 coming out of the playoffs, right? Like second seed, not bad, right?
Not bad at all.
They get 100 championship points for qualification toward Worlds. Obviously, they made it in. Let's take a look at where or who they have played and the steps that they took to get there, right? So we got to rewind for a couple of moments, right? And I'm going to go over to LOL Esports here on Twitter to do a little bit of that rewinding for us. So thankfully, Team One does not have to, because the LCK is just that good of a region. Did not have to play through the play-ins to get to groups, right? They were the number 2 seed coming out of Korea. They got seeded all as well, right? So as I pull up the group chart here, as soon as I find it, right? We will remind all of our lovely folks at home what path that they had to. Here we go. That didn't take very long. Copy, paste, done. So T1 got put into Group B, right? Group B was, I think, the only group that really didn't get a moniker attached to it. It wasn't the Group of Death, which was Damwon Kia, which ended up becoming the Group of Chaos Light. Thank you, Cloud9. It wasn't Group C, which was the Group of Life, because the only team that we thought could get out was the only team that we thought had a guaranteed shot of getting out was RNG. So it wasn't Group C. It wasn't the Group of Life. It wasn't Group D, which was the actual Group of Chaos, which I called from day one. It's not my fault. I did not curse the 4-way 3-3 tie. Please do not direct your hate mail to s.garmer@gmail.com or your hate tweets to @theandesian.
Instead, you can thank us for letting you know accordingly. I warned people.
Yes, you can thank us, and be sure when you win some money, you send some of it over to us, because of course you are #betting on Bovada. I bet you weren't ready for that one there, were you, Mr. Producer?
You were saying?
He was ready.
You were saying?
It's almost like you know my gimmicks ahead of time.
I'm an executive producer, and I'm Dr. Manhattan. Of course I know your gimmicks ahead of time.
Anyway, so Team 1 only dropped one game in the group stage, right? And that was to Edward Gaming, right? And the thing is they dropped that game so early on in the tournament. If I'm correct, it was a week 1 loss, right? I'm gonna check the schedule here. Yeah, it was a week 1 loss, right? It was the second day of group stage, first round robin, that they dropped that one game over to EDG. Right. And the only game that they had played before that was against DFM, Detonation Focus Me, the Japanese representatives who ended up going 0-6. Right. So everybody was looking at, like, nobody really paid the DFM game any attention, right? Because it was an expected win for Team 1. But when they saw them go up against EDG and lose in the fashion that they did, it was kind of, I don't know about this Team 1, Peter. Again, I'm full of the game show references tonight.
Wrong podcast.
He knows that already.
I do know that already. Viewer said I had wrong. I know that already, which he's right. I'm getting them out of the way now because, yeah.
No, you're not. You're
No,
gonna
I'm
have a
not.
whole other set on deck too.
Oh, yes, I am. Anyway, so yeah, no, the one loss, all of a sudden it's like, I don't know about this, Peter. And boom, there's the whammy, right? It's coming to me now. I see a financial disaster in your future.
Oh dear Christ.
Right? So there was group disaster in the future, but it wasn't for T1, right? Sure, T1 gives up a game. Nobody goes 6-0 and gets out and wins, right? More on that in a minute. Shut your pie hole, because I know what you're going to say.
I mean, it's right there, so
But the rest of the group stage, they came out firing on all cylinders, and they said, yes, hi, T1 here, I'm Faker, here's my team, we won our trophy now, okay, thanks, bye. Here's the thing that gets me about this Team 1 roster, right? It isn't about the fact that they have Faker, right? I mean, yeah, Faker is great. Faker. Can everybody shut the hell up about him is what some people are going to say, right?
I'm sorry. Who's the one who had as one of the
See, even the guy that doesn't know anything about League agrees with me.
but no, I'm sorry. Coming from the man who one of his W2M network keys to one of the games. Correct me if I'm wrong. Did you not put down, and I quote, download fakergoat.exe and let it run?
Yes. But here's the thing, right? Faker is not playing the flashy, showy, put it all on my shoulders, we're going kind of play style that he did when he won his first 3 championships, right? Faker has evolved as a player, right? He's not the young rookie anymore. He's not the first, second season wonder of, hey, look at me, I'm going to make the plays. The game's all about me. I'm the one that's carrying it, right? Now he's that, like, grizzled veteran that's like, okay, it's not all about me. I got to be a team player. I got to do my part to make sure that the entire team can do this. Now, don't get me wrong. I still think Faker is more than plenty capable of carrying this team of rookies by himself, right? But I've noticed throughout this tournament that Faker is playing a lot less aggressive and a lot more supportive. Right? He's taking picks that aren't necessarily hyper carry picks, and he's going for more like control mages and things that are going to set up his team for success rather than him trying to shoulder that burden all on his own, right? And I think that has to make a testament to Faker's growth as a player as well, right? Like, he's no longer in that it's all about me phase, if you could ever say that he's had one. And the meta, the shift, the focus has shifted to T1 as a whole, right? Because like I said, I think he's fully capable of carrying these 4 rookies all the way up. And I mean, from what we can see, he's done a good job, but he's not without help. Like, these kids that are on this team with him are good, right?
Well, I mean, I would think so, and not to mention, even though you have a limited game experience under their belt, I'm sure they've done a lot of film. Faker's been doing a lot of mentoring. You've had scrims.
Oh yeah, I'm Faker has definitely been a mentor to these guys. I actually watched a YouTube video released over on T1's official YouTube channel, right? A lot of these teams will post videos of snippets. Like obviously they don't post their entire thing because that can be used against them, and that makes sense. But a lot of these teams will post like, put together segments, if you will, of the in-game voice comms, right? Because everything's recorded by Riot for competitive integrity and rules and that kind of stuff. And the teams are given copies of this stuff, right? For review and whatnot, because that's just Riot is nice like that. But they released a thing. They released a video, and they put they put English subtitles, but they basically provided an insight into the comms, the in-game voice comms for T1 versus Hanwha Life in their quarterfinals matchup. Right, the guys were just so calm and collected. The team fights were not chaotic. Everybody was on the same page. They knew, like, they were communicating with each other, right? We hear a lot, especially in the past, about how teams, especially teams with rookies, the rookies have a hard time communicating, right? Because for whatever reason or another, maybe the rookie is just scared that they're going to say the wrong thing. They're going to, make the wrong objective call or whatever the case may be. But I listened to the tone because obviously I don't understand Korean. I can't, I'm not going to make out. I mean, yeah, sure. Some of the terms in League are heavily borrowed from English, and obviously you can make out a Naisu here and there, but everything seemed so calm. It was not what I expected out of 3.5 rookies and a faker, right? Not to be confused with 2.5 men. It was it for a team that has only been playing with each other for the most part since spring, right? Like let's look at this roster here, right? This entire roster has only been together since spring of this year, right? Because they picked up Kyria from DRX in the past off season, right? So this is this is a team that only has a whole year under its belt, right? Which, as we can see by the game counts of, Gumayusi owner, that's not a lot of games, right? That's about, 45, 50 games, right? For them to be that well coordinated and that calm and know exactly what they need to do, say, and so on, that's scary, right? That's the kind of like communication and stuff you expect out of, seasoned players and teams that have been around for a considerable amount of time, right? Not kids that are, barely 18 or 19 in Korean age because of, Korean traditions.
Weird in of itself.
Yes, apparently in Korean culture, when you're born, you are 1 year old.
Not only are you, yes, you are 1 year old at birth, counting for the time of the pregnancy and whatnot, and every new year, January 1st, that is considered like your birthday. So you age another year.
You are age 1.
Yes. So yeah, it's.
I like how he only explained half of that while I was able to get the other half.
Around here, folks.
You may have to excuse me in a moment here.
See, this is why I say there's only room for one disembodied voice.
You bring me one of those if you're going to be over there.
You're getting a berry one.
That's fine. The crappy ones that I don't, the cherry lime, there's no more cherry limeade, so, and that's the one I don't like.
Oh, it's my favorite one.
Well, you drank them all, so. Let's look at Dam 1 Kia, right? We've talked a lot about T1 so far, right? 5-1 in Group B. Only dropped a game to EDG, who's still in the tournament, by the way. They 3-0'd Hanwha Life in very short, decisive order in their quarterfinals. That's their path so far to get here to semis, right? Now they're going up against Dam 1, right? They lost to Dam 1. This is LCK Finals Part 2, right? Like this is revenge, right? Now back in LCK in the summer playoffs, it was 3-1. T1 managed to pull off just a single game against Dam 1, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, I haven't had the opportunity. Unfortunately, I have been busy in our off time, which partly contributed to our scheduling issues. I haven't been able to go back and look at those games because I did not see them live. I've not followed a lot of the LCK like I normally do, right? Let's look at Dam 1, right? The biggest name on this roster, and there are some big names, right? Obviously, actually 4 out of the 5 of these guys are world champions, right? The only person on this roster, or on the starting roster at least, that has not won a championship is Khan. Because the 4 out of the 5 of them are returning from 2020.
So you're talking about a lot of real high caliber experience. And no, I know you were waiting in that dead air while you were scrolling something. I wasn't going to make the joke.
Yeah, there's a lot of experience here, right? But the biggest name on this roster is not Showmaker. I don't care what anybody says, right? The biggest name on this roster is the coach, Coach Coma, right? Coma is legendary, right? Like, he is the man that molded Faker, that inspired that created and inspired the T1 work ethic, that took them to the world finals 4 times and won it for them 3 times, right? Like, this is, if you want to talk about dream rosters, Coma is definitely the guy I want coaching the dream roster. That's for sure. Let's take a look at how long some of these players have been playing, much less with Dam 1, right? So, Showmaker, this is his 3rd year as a player, right? He started with Dam 1 in spring of 2019. He's been with them his entire career, right?
Mm-hmm.
The same actually goes for Canyon and Barrel. Showmaker has 254 career games. Canyon has 239. Barrel has 211. Ghost, their I can't talk. The bot laner, right? He has been playing since summer of 2016. He started on CJ Entis, which was a kind of middle of the run team, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then moved over to the BBQ Olivers. Yes, that is actually the name of the team. They used to. It's kind of like a KFC kind of thing. There used to be jokes on the broadcast all the time about how BBQ would bring chicken to the studio on broadcast days, especially days that BBQ was playing. They have since renamed.
I,
They are now called Esports Connected. I believe. Wait a minute. Have they renamed even further? Oh my god, they've gone through quite a bit of. Oh, that's. Oh, okay. Yes, it was Esports Connected, and unfortunately, they have since disbanded.
can't get
They
the
had a
name.
couple of name changes in the middle there. They played in. They relegated down to one of the lower leagues. It looks like.
Gee, I wonder why.
Yeah, this is a little bit of a storied team here, but back in the days of Ghost being on the team, right? So 2017 and 2018, they went. Let's see, 2017 summer they went 9th place overall standings. 2018 spring they were 8th. 2018 summer they were 10th. So kind of a bottom of the barrel team, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, but he is the guy with the most experience as far as play time and stuff on this team. Like I said, been with them since 2016, or been playing since 2016. He went over to Sandbox, which is a pretty decent team in 2019. In fact, 2019 Sandbox actually placed third overall. In the summer playoffs, they placed fourth, ahead of Dam1 Griffin, and SKT. And then in the regional finals, which helps determine who goes to Worlds in the LCK, they placed third, which did not get them the play-in spot, but which would go to Dam1. But nonetheless, Sandbox, pretty good team, right? He'll stay with them for a year. He's with he's with Sandbox for all of 2019, and then in 2020 spring he comes over and starts with Dam1, and they go on their first run right to the championship. Ghost has 395 games, give or take, under his belt. Because again, playoff games not included, regular season tiebreakers included in the numbers that I'm looking at here, not including Worlds participation games, which before 2020 he hadn't seen Worlds, but you can play 15 games maximum at Worlds if you go undefeated. I think you can play like 17 if you go through a group with tiebreakers maximum.
It depends. I mean, granted, if you also have to go in through a play-in stage, and then
if you have to go in through play-ins, then that's another set of round robins and stuff. But I'm thinking just from the group stage, right?
Yeah.
You're looking at like 17, like anywhere between 15, 17 games maximum. Because you have what is it? 3 games you play? Yeah, I think you play. Yeah, you play 3 games if. No, you play 2 games in the 3-way tie, right? Yeah, you play 2 games in the 3-way tie. It's 15 games because you have 6 games in the double round robin, and then you have best of 5s in quarterfinals, semifinals, and finals, right? So that's 15 plus 6 is 21, and then add another 2 in case of tiebreakers and groups is 20. So yeah, 23 games, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you could play 23 games. Now, if you're a really good team and you just 3-0 everybody, yeah, it's like 15. Like you can go 15-0, and which is what this damn one roster is looking like they can do right now. Because they're 9-0 right now, coming out of quarterfinals. They go 12-0 out of semifinals. They could walk into finals 15-0, and that's it, right? And that's the minimum amount of games required to win a world championship undefeated. But kids got about, I'd say, 420, 425 under his belt, maybe 430. Because, again, that's not counting, like, the regional playoffs and all that. Which are a couple of best of fives.
Basically, like in most sports, your regular season guaranteed games, they count. Any sort of what they would consider as a postseason is counted separately.
Exactly. So, definitely by far, he's the most experienced player on the team, right? Khan spent a year, 2019, on SKT, right? SKT 2019, not a great year, right? They got 3-1 by G2, right? Like it was they got eliminated. It was not good. That was the year we had G2 go up against FPX, and FPX ran away with it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Great year, by the way. We legitimately thought we were going to have a European champion in Europe. Would have been the first time I think that would have been the first time in an international format that's happened.
So really, since we've gone this international, nobody's won on home soil.
That I can remember, no.
Interesting.
Because I think the year that it was in China, the Korean, every year that it was in, I don't know if a Korean team has won it on Korean soil. I'd have to double check.
Interesting.
But I do not believe anybody has won it on home soil. Again, I could be wrong there. Somebody on Twitter can correct me. But 2019, Khan was so close to his cup, right? So close.
How close was he?
He was so close he could touch it with a blank. I don't know. I didn't have anything prepared for that one. I'm sorry.
See, again, you're the one talking about gimmick preparation. Oh, all your Mr. Game Show punning, yada, yada, yada.
All right. Fuck your couch, you rich motherfucker. 295 games on Khan, right?
Mm-hmm.
Pretty well experienced. Spent his third season, technically second full season or full year, right? Because this is his. He had a half a year, so he had summer split with where he started off on Longzhou, right?
Mm-hmm.
2014, he actually played on a team called Prime Optimus. Which let me look at something here, right? NL Champions 2014 spring. He wasn't playing on, or was he under a different name? No. Yeah, so he played in the LCK in 2014 under a team called Prime Optimus. I think I remember that team, to be honest with you. And then he didn't play in 2015 or 16. 2017, he re-debuts, I guess you could say, for Longzhou, which not a horrible team, right? They come 5th through 8th. They got 3-0'd by Samsung at Worlds in 2017. They were first place in LCK 2017 summer when he was with them, right? Like, Khan has some world stage experience, right? 2018, he goes to Dragon X, or King Zone Dragon X, as it was known at the time. That team doesn't look too bad, right? They've got some pretty well known names. That for those folks who follow the LCK would know. They've got Kurilla, Prey, BDD, and Peanut, right? They've also got Rascal and Cuz for on the roster as well. I believe were subs, right? Rascal and Cuz were the starters. There were subs here and there. Dragon X was a good team, right? Like been pretty on top of things, right? So 2018, looking at the results, they go in summer. They end up going third place in LCK, right? They take fourth place in the playoffs. They take second in the regional finals, which again, the championship points qualifying for worlds. That's how they do that over there in the LCK. Again, Khan has, been on some top teams, right? But every time he gets close to a Worlds run or a Worlds Cup, just slips right out of his fingers, right? So he leaves King Zone Dragon X in 2018. 2019, he joins SKT, right? We all know what happens there. They got eliminated by G2. It was a spectacular upset. And Khan leaves. He decides, I'm taking 2020 off. Comes back in the spring of 2021 to replace Nuggery, who left. And now he's the top laner for this powerhouse Damwon roster, who currently looks like they might win it, right? And he's got a career about 300 games, a little over 300 under his belt, right? I'd say he's got 295 regular season games. He's probably got about 50 postseason games under his belt. So I'd say he's looking at about 350 career games, right? That's a good amount of experience. The rest of this team, kind of similar situation to T1's current roster, right? Showmaker, Canyon, and Beryl all started as rookies with Damwon in 2019. Right? That was their rookie professional season, right? Because a lot of these guys, I'm sure, before this, they played on the junior varsity team, so to speak, in Champions Korea in the CK, on either Damwon's development roster or other developmental rosters, right?
So basically the B teams.
Yeah, the B teams. These guys all move up to the main roster in spring of 2019, right? Now, let's take a look at the results, right? So, Damwon Gaming, right? 2016 or 2018 is when all of these guys join, right? 2018 season.
Mm-hmm.
Or I'm sorry, 2019, spring of 19, right? So let's take a look here at some data because I like data. I always like data. I can find the tab that I was just on. There we go. Okay, so 2019, right? 2019 spring, they go 5th place. In the spring playoffs, they take 4th. 2019 summer, they go 2nd place. And in the summer playoffs, they get 3-0'd by SKT and take 3rd. At Worlds 2019, because they do qualify for Worlds 2019, they get 3-1'd by G2. And end up, I believe 5 through 8 means they're out in quarters.
Yes.
So they're out in quarterfinals in 2019.
Now, Keen, you said that they were which seed going into Worlds out of their region?
In 2019, I believe they won it. So they actually came up through the play-ins.
Now, keep in mind, with 2019, the play-ins were slightly different than what we've seen here in 2020 and 2021.
Yes, but it wasn't too much different.
If I remember right, you had 4 triangulars. You still had the double round robin in those triangulars, and then the top 2 in each triangular group were drawn best of 5. Those winners got to the group stage.
Man's done his homework. Bravo. Yes.
I go ahead and I, mess around in my free time and dig into some things.
But yeah, they came up through the play-ins and get knocked out in the quarterfinals at Worlds 2019, right?
Still impressive.
Still very
especially
impressive.
going through the play-ins.
2020 spring, 5th place. They end with a 500 record, 9-9. Of note, early on, week 1, they got 2-1 by T1. They rematched against them in week 7, and Damwon 2-0'd them because they do best of 3s in Korea. But overall, they end in 5th place with a 9-9 record, right?
Mm-hmm.
Good enough to get them to the playoffs, where they'll go 4th place in the spring playoffs. Coming into summer, however, everything changes, right? Like the team hit the on switch. They finished 2020 with a 16-2 record.
Whoa.
1st place, right? The only teams that they lose to, right? I'm checking here because I want to see who are the only teams that they lost to in regular season. They lost week 2 to Genji. And they lost week 4 to Dragon X. And both of those were 2-1s. So it went all 3 games. The only other time in the entire 10-week season that it went to 3 games was week 8. They played Genji, but they won that one 2-1. Everything else was they clean swept. They go to the playoffs, right? They end up facing Dragon X in the finals. They win 3-0. 1st place, LCK, top seed in going into Worlds, right? They win their first championship. They take down Suning, Chinese team, right? 3-1. They win the whole caboodle at Worlds. First championship, right? And this is the roster. It's got Noguri, Canyon, Showmaker, Ghost, and Barrel, right? Noguri decided, you know what? I'm going to FPX after this. So he leaves Damwon. He goes over to FPX. They recruited Khan, right? Now let's talk about this season, right? Let's talk about 2021, right? 2021 spring, right? Which is they have the current roster that they have right now, right? 16-2 overall record.
Upgrade much.
Right? First place in the spring split, right? They lost to, I don't know who BRO is, but they lost to BRO in week 2, 2-0. And then they lost to Genji in week 9, 2-1. Now, needless to say, it was bloody. Like, some of these games are bloody, right? Like, there's a lot of 2-1s on the board here. A lot of 2-1s on the board. They go to spring playoffs. They're up against Genji 3-0, no problem. First place at LCK 2021 spring, right? They go to MSI, right? MSI, things are looking great. They dominated the hell out of Korea. A lot of people are starting to talk about them, especially they're coming in as the defending world champions, right? Like right now, this is the best that League has to offer internationally, right?
To tie a bit of a bow on this, Brian Esports Challengers.
Brian Esports Challengers?
BRO?
Oh, okay. There's a team named Brian, and I wasn't watching the LCK. Jeez, man.
Yeah, it's just they spell it with an O. BRION.
Oh, okay. Anyway, so they go to MSI, right? And they lost. Not where anybody expected, but they lost. RNG, powerhouse Chinese team, comes and 3-2s them, right? It's an ugly 5-game series. And they go second at MSI, toppled by RNG, which is why a lot of folks are saying that RNG might be the team that wins out at Worlds this year, right? Because if they can take down, Damwon in 3-2 fashion at MSI, which is, if you want to put it in Dota terms, think of the majors and think of the international right after,
Right.
Somewhat similar concept. But you got them taking second, right? Okay. Sorry, I am unbelievably thirsty today for some reason.
I mean, we both are, just in different ways.
I wasn't going to go there. Summer, right? They don't do so great in the summer. First place, but this time with a record of 12-6. Brian Esports or Brian Challengers, or whatever the heck they were called. They took a game off of them again. They had quite a few losses, including one to T1. They won their first confrontation with T1 in week 1 of summer. but in week 6, they lost. They also lost to a Freak of Fleeks. And yeah, that's notable losses there. And then they go to the playoffs. They go to LCK 21 Summer Playoffs. And they 3-1 T1 and take the top seed with the same roster that we see right now. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So this is summer playoffs all over again, except with the much bigger prize at stake, right? Now, if T1 was able to pull a game off of them in summer at the summer championships, right? Do you think that they're able to do that again? Becomes the real question, right? When you talk about, I mean, you can sit here and talk about experience with the two teams, which is kind of what we just did, right? When you look at experience between these two teams, it's pretty clear that Dam One wins that, right? Overall, right? Because Faker is playing with a team of rookies. I mean, we've pretty much established that, right? You look at the starters, and out of the starters, the only one of them that has any experience that is not a rookie is Kana, right? Kana has been playing since spring of 2020. Kiria Gumiasi, owner. This is their rookie split. Or actually, no, sorry. Kiria has been playing since 20 as well. But Gumayusi and owner, this is their rookie split, right? For the fact that this is their rookie split, especially in two semi-important roles, Gumayushi in the bot lane, but more importantly, owner as the jungler, as the team's jungler. They're looking great, I don't think you can sit there and really say that there's an experience gap here, which is kind of difficult, because the Dam One roster has 3 years, I said, of them playing together.
Yep, 3 years.
And this team has 2 splits, which is effectively not even a full year together yet. Because you're not, Worlds hasn't concluded, so you can't really count it as a full year yet.
So,
go ahead.
I was gonna say, so this begs the ultimate question. You're at this level, semifinals at Worlds. What wins out? Experience or raw talent?
That's a tough question.
That's what you're facing here. You've got a lot of raw, talented rookies versus a team that's trying to get a dynasty together, who's been on this stage, who's won the trophy, all this. Here we are.
You know what I think? Is going to win between these two teams? You know what I think it comes down to? I think a lot of people are going to disagree with me here, but you know what I think it comes down to?
What's that?
The coaches.
I mean, for something like this, you're not really wrong, because if there were ever a point to where coaching strategies from everything in between each game, setting lineups, dealing with pick bans, counters, and all that, all the way down to just every facet of the preparation, scrims, film,
Still going? You done?
Yeah.
all sorts of optimizations. It's one move at something like this could sway a game, and that could sway the series.
Oh, yeah. So let's take a look at these two coaches, right? Because we talked about the players. We haven't really talked about the coaches, right? Stardust, which is their current interim head coach, right? He is actually a former professional StarCraft player.
StarCraft, goddamn.
And I think that's where you're going to get the advantage here.
I swear, if he's lucky, he's a disembodied voice right now.
He played from 2010 to 2015, right? He started off as an assistant coach for H2K, right? Which, as we all remember, was a European team back from around 2014 through about 2017, I believe. 2017, 2018. They did not apply for a franchise spot when the LEC went to franchising back in 2019, and they ended up disbanding. But they were a pretty decent team back in the day, right? Like they weren't great, but they weren't bad. Like they were consistently like, top 5, top 6. They even went to semis at Worlds in 2016. Like pretty decent team, right? 2017, he joined them as an assistant coach. 2018, he leaves them, goes to 100 Thieves, and was part of the staff, the 100 Thieves staff that went to the 2018 World Championship, where 100 Thieves got knocked out in group stage. Later on, and late in 2018 for the 2019 season, he joins a Latin American team called All Knights as their head coach. Stays with them for the year, basically, for spring and summer splits, and then leaves. Goes over to a Brazilian team called Flamengo Esports as a strategic coach.
Ah, so another team related with a soccer club.
Yeah, that's pretty common. Looks like Flamengo dissolves at the end of spring.
No real surprise, especially with what the soccer club had going on and the entire situation in both Rio de Janeiro and Brazil as a whole. I get it.
Because a good chunk of their team left on April 2nd. And then in the off season for 2020, Stardust joins T1 as an assistant coach. And then on July 14th, Moment comes up from their academy roster as a coach, and Stardust becomes the interim head coach. Because I believe this is when Coma went to Dam 1, was over the summer. Speaking of Coma, let's look at his history, right?
And then I have another question to bring up after we get through Coma.
So starts off in 2011, right?
Jeepers.
As a player, he was a jungler. for a Korean team called Startail. And before that, he played StarCraft 2 under the nickname Little Boy for a team called Old Generations. Failed to qualify and decided to quit StarCraft 2, and then he joined and started playing League of Legends. 2012, he joins SK Telecom as their coach. Because this is SK Telecom T1, right? These are the glory days, right? This is when we've got, telecom.
I'm sorry, are you angry or are you taking a shit?
I think he's taking a shit.
Okay.
You're gonna have to give me like a couple of minutes in a moment here, anyways. So, he's on the T1 first team as a coach from December of 2012 to November of 2013, right? SK Telecom Team 2, which is what we now know as T1 today, gets formed, right? Faker, as we know him, starts his career then, joins this team. The head coach lies, comes over, and so does Coma. And that's what they're building. That's what they're building the team 2 around, right? Later on that year, they rename it from T1-1 and T1-2 to S and K, right? 2014, they get rid of the 2 teams. They regroup as a single team with Impact, Marin, Bengi, Easyhoon, Faker, Bang, and Pickaboo, and Wolf. They keep head coach Lies, and Coma is there as a coach. In 2017, which is the year that they start their run, I believe that's 2017 was the first year they got it. I believe so. Yeah. Coma becomes the head coach. Effort moves over to the starting roster. A couple of different coaching position changes, right? 2018, there's rumors Coma's going to leave because his contract expired, and was not updated in the master database. And nobody announces anything, right? But he ends up staying. Pooh Mandu, which I might have just mentioned as well, being a coach on Damn One Kia as well, also with T1 at this time. 2019, Coma leaves. Right? That's it. He's done.
Mm-hmm.
He joins a Chinese team called Vici Gaming in the 2019 offseason. Stays with them for a year. September 9th, right in the middle of the summer split, or really at the end of the summer split, kind of more toward Worlds. He leaves. And November 12th, it's announced that he joins Damn One. He's been around, right?
I would think so.
We'll we can let's take a look at the overall tournament results, right? We'll go all the way back. I think this warrants it. 2011 Invin All-Star Tournament 2011, first professional tournament that he's played in, right? He's playing as a jungler for Startail. 5th through 8th place, gets eliminated by a team called Extreme Dive Gaming. He plays in the OGN. This is, old school LCK, right? OGN League of Legends Invitational 2012, 5th through 6th place as a jungler for Startail. Plays in Champions 2012 Spring, which is the precursor to the LCK, right? First major tournament for OGN. This was back in the days when there were multiple League of Legends or multiple esports channels in Korea, and everybody decided they wanted to have their own tournament or split broadcasting tournaments. It was a weird time back then. He goes 9th through 16th place in that tournament. They ended up with a 1-2 overall record as the jungler, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he moves over. This is 2012. He becomes end of 2012. He becomes a coach, right? He's with SKT. He's with some very some of these names are retired. Some of these folks, like Reaper, for example, you may recognize as a former Cloud9 head coach, now head coach of 100 Thieves. They go first place at IEM Season 7 in Cologne, right? With Coma as a coach. Champions 2013 Spring, they end up in 3rd place. Champions 2013 Summer, 1st place. Worlds Season 3, 1st place. With SK Telecom, right? This is the start of the dynasty, right? Their first victory. And Coma is one of the coaches. Let's keep moving up the list, shall we? Champion Season 14 Winter. Or Champions 2014 Winter. 1st place. All-Star 2014 Paris. 1st place. NLB 2014 Summer Season. 1st place. Champions 2014 Summer Season. 4th place. Korean Regional Finals 2014. 2nd. I'm just going to abbreviate here. Champions 2015, Spring and Summer, 1st place. MSI 2015, 2nd. Worlds 2015, 2nd World Championship, right? 2016 Spring, 3rd place. Spring playoffs, they took 1st. MSI 2016, Worlds 2016, MSI 2017, they won it. LCK 2017 Spring, they won it. Right? The only real slippage you see kind of in the 2017 and 2018, 2017 through 2019, kind of shaky. Not so many first places, but a lot of second places, a lot of third and fourths. Right?
But nothing really worse than 4th.
LPL 2020 Summer with the Chinese team, right, that he went to. In the spring, they go 7-9 overall. They end up in 9th place. In summer, they bat 500 with an 8-8 record, and he goes 11th. This, I'm not faulting him too much on. I think it's a communication. I think it's a language boundary and not a coaching style problem, right?
Right.
Like, Coma is highly regarded as one of the strictest coaches with the highest work ethics out of every coach ever to coach League of Legends, right?
And you can see why.
His results speak for themselves, of course. Comes back to Damn One Gaming, right? Early 2021. They go to Kespa Cup 2020. They win first place. LCK 2021 spring and the playoffs, they won. MSI 2021, they barely got beat by RNG and they take second. LCK 21 summer, they take first place. Worlds 2021, they're 9-0 right now. Coach Coma is a coaching machine. He has seen it all, done it all, developed it all. He molded Faker, considered to be the greatest player of League of Legends of all time, from the ground up, quite literally. This is going to be a battle of coaching, not a battle of players.
And
right?
if we're going to a battle of coaching, I mean, you're getting with a total mismatch.
If you're going with a battle of coaching, I think it's tough, right? Because you have proven experience, and I obviously, as I just read off, proven experience in Coma, right? But you have Stardust over on T1, right? Obviously, the Stardust and that team has got to be doing something right? I mean, he's got Faker. Faker has had to have learned something about coaching and league from Coma, right? So you can't imagine that Faker isn't throwing his input in and out a little bit, right? But Stardust didn't come from League. He came from StarCraft. He was a professional StarCraft player, right? So I think Stardust is kind of looking at the game from a completely different perspective, right? He's not one of the players or coaches that's been in the game since day one.
And this is what I wanted to bring up, especially with his experience and what he's accomplished. Do they remove the interim tag? And if so, when?
I think they removed the interim tag at the end of the season, right? Like, I'm sure his contract expires on contract day this year, just like a lot of people's does, right? Like he becomes a free agent on free agent day, which is November 15th, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think he's probably talking with T1 leadership right now, right? And there's got to be, something going on there. Like, he's got to be talking to Joe Marsh, going, okay, look, I'll be, I'll sit there, I'll coach. I want full head coach, and that's it, right? Like, you see what I've done with the team. Let's make this permanent, right? Let's sign the paperwork. But I don't think we'll see that until after Worlds.
Okay, makes sense.
I don't think they make such a bold maneuver now, right? Like, maybe come November 5th when they win the cup, maybe November 6th, you see a statement. Son Seok-hee named head coach of T1.
I saw what you did there. Don't think I didn't notice where you're leaning in this.
What? I think T1 wins. You have a head coach who is looking at the game with a different perspective, a different pair of eyes, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have the greatest mid laner of all time who spent a good majority of his career under the head coach of the opposition. He's got to know a thing or two about what's in Coma's playbook.
But then don't you think the other way around that applies as well?
Yeah, but here's the thing, right? And this is where I think T1 has the advantage. Look at the rest of T1's roster. They're all rookies. Coma has no experience with those guys, has no idea what they're capable of outside of what they've demonstrated on the Rift. Where's your secret weapon now? Coma can't just sit there and go, oh, yeah, I coached them. I took them to 3 world championships. I know they're going to do this, this, and that. He might be able to sit there and say, okay, I know Faker has his comfort picks in here, here, and here. If we draft this, Fakers might want to try to look to ask the coach to play XYZ champion. But as we've seen in this tournament, Team 1 is not playing all around Faker.
It's one of those, and I know I'm going to potentially eat my words and I'm saying this, but I don't care. You know, with this tournament, we've come to completely expect the unexpected. I'm actually going to use that. Everything that you said, no secret weapon, no pressure on T1, none of these sorts of things. Everything would lean in, all right, complete T1's favor. I get that. But I think there's just that last little bit that tells me somehow, some way, even if it's not a crumble, Damwon finds a way. They're on too much of a mission. I'm fully prepared to be wrong about this. But something just tells me whenever we think this is going to be the right time and everything's potentially lining up this way, somehow it doesn't.
So you're effectively pulling the Blues Brothers card on Damwon here. You think they're on a mission from God.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, man. I think it's the other way around. I think T1's the one on the mission from God, right? Like the expected result is Damwon.
Yes, I get that. And
I think the T1 has too much of T1 I think has more to lose than Damwon does in this situation, right? Like if T1 can get this far and then lose in, especially if it's in such a horrible dominant fashion from Damwon, right? Like let's say this goes 3-0 in Damwon's favor. If T1 loses that badly, that's a blow to the mental of everybody. I mean, like Faker's going to be devastated. The whole team's going to be devastated, right? Like if you're Faker, you might just retire after that. Like if you gotta, this world has got it. A lot of space in this brackets. This world has got everything.
But I mean, again,
thank you over there on the other side of the desk for that Blues Brothers reference.
Not a problem. I like 4 fried chickens and a Coke.
He went too far. He was great. He was doing great, and then he pushed too far with the reference.
You started this.
But no, I think that if T1 lose in a spectacular fashion like they do here, right? The problem, I don't even think it's a problem. I think you have to sit down, and especially if you're Faker, you're like, wait a minute, am I too old for this shit, right? Quote another movie. Am I getting too old for this shit, right? Like, he's already fucking Danny Glover in Lethal Weapon 4 here, Like, he's already too old for this shit, in a way, right? Like, no longer is he the gung, or not really Danny Glover. He's more Mel Gibson, right? Like, he's losing his edge, right? In a way.
More Riggs than Murtaugh.
Yeah, he's more Riggs than Murtaugh, right? Like Riggs in Lethal Weapon 4, you could see that he was losing his edge a bit. He wasn't keeping up with He wasn't keeping up with the bad guys as much as he used to be able to. And, you know, you've got fucking Showmaker over here and Jet Li, if we're going to complete the movie reference. You know, up and coming young kid that, you know, moves lightning fast that the old guys can't keep up with them and just utterly mops the floor with them at first, right? But what happens at the end of that movie? What happens at the end of Lethal Weapon 4? Riggs grabs an AK and shoots Jet Li full of lead underwater in a pretty epic fight scene. And I think that's what happens here, right? Like, at the end of the day, the kid's good, right? Showmaker's good. Damn one is good, right? But I think T1 is better, right? I think T1 need this win so that they can go out on top, right? Because this has been an organization that has been marred and scarred and had a dynasty and was just completely ripped from them, and everybody dismissed them, and they said, oh well, we feel bad for Faker, but it's the end of the road for T1. They're never going to come back to form again, and they've been fighting a long time to get back there, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think if they can't do it here, they're never going to do it. At least not in Faker's lifetime.
Well, I don't know. Again, I know I'm going with my gut on this one, but it's one of those things where the wheels turn. I completely get it. But then there's that one thing, because again, for all these reasons, everybody would be expecting T1 to win in this case just because of all that. I don't know. We will see. We will definitely see.
And here's the thing, I don't know if everybody is expecting T1 to win, right? Like, a lot of people are out there and they're like, oh, okay, well, let's look at the featured matchup of this game, right? Like, I mean, we've said the name. I'm pretty sure we could probably, if I felt like it, go into post, re-edit the video for this and add in a Faker counter to how many times I say Faker during this broadcast, right? Like, but Faker versus Showmaker in the mid lane, right? Like, you don't get any more hype than this, right? This is the de facto finals, right? Like, whoever wins this is going to win. And I even said that on Twitter. In fact, I'll go back to Twitter right now. Oh, look, I got another notification, right? I made a tweet on Twitter, right? I get a tweet on Twitter. Because somebody said there was a tweet that said from LOL Esports, the World's 2021 knockout stage bracket after quarterfinals. Right, I made a tweet replying to that. I'm gonna send that to you again. I've gotten over 100 likes and multiple retweets over the past few days because of what I just said. Somebody said T1 versus Damn One feels like the finals, and I'm like, you're right. It's what the finals should be. It's the two strongest teams in the tournament, so in reality, it's the de facto finals. Whoever wins out of those two teams is going to win the actual finals. I tweeted that 4 days ago. I'm still getting likes on it.
I mean, we've even mentioned it here on the show
several times.
Yes. For good measure.
And there I go with another notification. But the thing about this, right, is I think the biggest thing that is going, the two biggest things that I think that define this whole series, right? We talked about the coaching matchup a few moments ago, right? Damn One Coma versus Stardust, right? And now we have to talk about the mid lane, right? Because I think that's the next defining thing out of this series, right? It's kind of like how when T1 played Hanwha Life in the quarterfinals, and we had the keys to the game sponsored by W2M Net, right? Where I said that you had to turn on Faker Goat.exe and let him run circles around Chovy, right? Because it's the same thing, it's the same principle, except like dial it up to 11, right? Hell, dial it up to 21. More on that coming up next, right? All right, go ahead. Give me the monkey. You know I earned it. There we go.
Jeez. Yes, as to be expected. See, this is what you get going on, and this is what you start.
So take Faker versus Chovy, but dial that up to 11, right? Like put exponential growth on it, because that's effectively what it is.
Exponential idle what? Oh, sorry, something else.
Please, no exponential math jokes from across the desk. Thank you. Showmaker is trying to carve out a name for himself as the Demon Slayer, right? Like, for lack of a better term, right? Like, he's already bested Faker a couple of times, especially in finals, right? But I think if Showmaker is going to solidify himself as the next greatest mid laner of all time, he's got to do it in this game, right? Like, he has to do it on the world stage, right? Because Faker has a world's buff, right? Like this hidden passive world's buff to him, right? Like, he gets on an international stage where everything really matters, and the man just has a switch that turns on and it doesn't turn off, right? And Showmaker hasn't gone against that Faker yet. He's gone against a domestic Faker. He's gone against an MSI Faker, right? But I don't think that he's gone against three-time world champion on the world stage, even if there's no fans, right? Because that's obviously a big thing. I'm sure the players miss the fans in the stands just as much as the fans themselves miss being in the stands.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not convinced that Showmaker is capable of winning this game yet, this series yet, right? Like, Faker's a different person on the international stage. Like, we may very well see T1. Like, I think we see Faker pull out some very deep pocket picks that we haven't seen him play in years, right? And God forbid that they leave LeBlanc open for Faker. Like, Faker is, like, undisputedly one of the best LeBlanc players in the world, right? Like, his record on LeBlanc, I believe, was undefeated for years. I think he's only ever lost one game on LeBlanc. He hasn't played it on the world's international stage very often, but mainly because it gets banned out from him. But that's the biggest thing that I think that I think comes into play, and it goes back to the whole coaching thing, right? Like, Coma knows Faker. Coma knows the champions that Faker is capable of playing, right? So how many bans does Coma throw directly at Faker? Or does he stick with the current bans for the current tournament meta? Which leaves, in this current meta, quite a few things open that Faker has no problems playing, right? Like, especially LeBlanc. LeBlanc has been somewhat of a high priority in this tournament so far, at least early on in the tournament priority for sure. I'm just glad that the meta has shifted away from the Tryndamere mid bullshit. I was just getting tired of seeing that. Nobody likes Tryndamere. He can go suck a lemon, you know? Fall on your own sword and suck a lemon. That's what I have to say about that champion. But well, that's funny because his death animation is quite literally him tripping and falling on his own sword.
Well, I mean, with that, and I'm just thinking about the whole lemon thing, but that's different.
Oh, that's just me stealing a Simpsons reference. Have you ever seen Simpsons with Fat Tony? Yeah.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I think that's where it comes. That's why I said the game is going to be won partly by the coaches, right? Like,
yeah. So I mean, your W2M network keys to the game: coaching difference, your big matchup. That's pretty much what it goes down to.
Yeah, it really does. I think at the end of the day, the W2M net keys to the game, or really keys to the series, is going to come down to the coaching diff and the mid diff, right? Can Coma out coach, and it's not really even out coach, it's really out draft, right? But that's a huge chunk of what coaching is in League of Legends, is coming up with that draft, right? Like, if you're Coma, you have to have spent this past week sitting down and like really deep diving, no pun intended, into your draft strategy, right? And I think it's the same if you're Faker and if you're Stardust, right? Like, if you're Faker, you've got to sit there, you got to sit down with the team, you got to sit down with the coach, you got to say, look, if they try this and this and this, you know, Coma might try to ban me out here and here. If he does that, we draft this kind of comp, and I'm playing this. And here's the thing: I don't think that this is a team that has enough skill expression. They don't have to play through Faker, right? Previous iterations of SK Telecom, it's been the Faker show. We've seen the team built around Faker, and they play around Faker, and they carry around Faker. So when he gets set behind early, it hits T1 hard, right? But we've seen Faker get hit early in this tournament, but T1 still turn around and win it. Because they're playing through their other lanes. They're playing through they're playing through the jungle, right? And that's what T1 has to do, right? They have to continue what's working for them, which is to put Faker on more of that support oriented pick and that support oriented play style, right?
Right.
And again, the fact that Faker is able to recognize that and play that as successfully as he has in this tournament speaks volumes for the amount of growth that Faker has gone through. And I don't think Showmaker's there yet, right? I think that Showmaker is still like, he's still a kid, so to speak, right? Like, there was a thing here. It's gonna take me a moment to find it, right?
Alrighty. Then we can start winding things down.
Faker, or that won't take me too long to find it. But I think Faker said it best, right? and he fires some shots here, right? They need to get revenge over over Dam One for losing the summer finals. And I think that's exactly what's going to happen.
Okay. We'll see. I know one of us is going to be just telling the other, I told you so.
Oh, yeah.
Next week.
Oh, yeah. No, 100%. I think either way, regardless of what happens, I think these games will go down as at least top 10 World Series that are like must watch World Series, right? Probably top 5. Especially if it goes like really bloody, Dam One come out firing 2-0, T1 gets the reverse sweep, we go to Silver Scrapes, like we were talking about, a few episodes back.
Oh yeah, that would be the absolute dream for Riot if any of that happens. Even if it just starts with T1 in Game 3 and just whatever happens from there.
I think that if that happens, this is easily top 3 series of all time, like worlds wise, right? Like that's a hard list to put together of, the top 10 must watch worlds games of all time, right? That's a very difficult list to put together because there's been a lot of games, there's been a lot of worlds, there's been a lot of memorable moments, right? Balls pentakill from C9 back in quarterfinals in 2018. Faker Shockwave finds them all. The miraculous SKT comeback, right? G2 in the finals, in Europe. SKT, any of their 5-game finals championships, right? So there's been a couple of them that have been 5-game series, right? Like there's a list, right? There's a lot, and it would be difficult to come up with the list, but either way, I think it's going to be great League of Legends. Obviously, we're going to hear there's going to be a lot of hype. I think this is, in reality, I think this is the only game that really has any hype left in it for the remainder of the tournament. I hate to say that too, right? Because like Worlds is it's a very prestigious event, something a lot of people look forward to seeing every year. And I'm really hoping, especially if Dam One win this, and again, that's if Dam One win this. I really hope they've got something good for the opening ceremony for the final series, right? Because they're going to need it if Dam One win it.
Well,
yeah, it'll be nice that okay, Dam One's going on to win the championship. They're 2-time back-to-back champions. Nobody's done that since SKT, so on and so forth. But I mean, we've seen some of Riot's opening ceremonies in the past too. So how do they top that as well, right? But we can talk about that. We can talk about the history of opening ceremony stuff when we get that 1 week off between semifinals and finals.
Oh yeah. Plus, again, we'll rehash the ideas that we had about how can a Riot fix this, what changes would they need to make that they can hopefully implement in 2022.
Oh yeah. But I'm looking forward to Saturday, right? Like I think regardless of what happens, it's going to be a great series, right? If I had to go #bet on Bovada, right? You give me the Chris Benjamin, you say, here you go, here's your 100. Who are you putting it on, right? normally, like any other T1 game that we've had up until this point, I say easy clap. I get some easy clap in the Twitch chat. Oh yeah, you guys probably don't have better Twitch TV enabled. I'll have to show you about that. I would say easy clap. Go put your money on Faker, right? Go put your money on T1. Here, I don't know if I can, in sound capability, say go put money on this game, right? Because it's that close. But then again, maybe that's the kind of game you really need to put the money on, right? Because everybody else is going to be putting money on it because it's going to be that close of a game. But that's gambling advice. I'm not a professional gambler. Do not take my advice seriously.
Well, I mean, as someone who has done a little bit more gambling, if you find this on Bovada, fine. But this is one of those to where if you like a certain team early, bet now. If you like other teams, wait. Because the sharps are already going to come in. You're going to see some wild, wild swings in this particular market.
Oh,
because
yeah.
you got the public money that's going to be coming one way, sharps are going to be coming another. I'd be interested to see the different patterns when it comes to League of Legends. As a matter of fact,
there's a few League of Legends betting sites out there. I don't know if they're on Bovada, but
what do you think I'm looking up right now?
I kind of figured. But yeah, if you gave me a Chris Benjamin and you said, go bet on this game, go bet on this series, I would honestly have to tell you that I would be doing it like minutes before lock-in, right?
Oh, okay.
Like I would be doing it minutes before the betting closed, right? Because I couldn't consciously bet until I see champion compositions.
Well, I can give you preliminary lines right now.
Oh boy. You better get the bet on Bovada back on screen then, buddy.
Oh, I will do one better, sir. I will do one better if you give me a moment. Let me copy. Now, before I put this up here, and before I add it in, I will give the proper disclaimer. We do not officially condone any sort of illegal gambling. Always respect the terms and conditions of your site and whenever you happen to be betting from. Please respect all gambling laws. 21 means 21. And for the love of God, please bet responsibly. That said, here we go. Now, if you notice here, and they have 4 a League of Legends. What I have here is I have these in the Australian odds, which are decimalized. Thank you very much, Australian Rules Football. But I can translate it for you. When you're looking at the spread, think of this as like run line, goal line, or run line in baseball, goal line in hockey, your point spread. They keep it pretty much at a tight 1.5. You're getting pretty much even money that Damwon wins by at least 2 games. So if you're talking a 3-1 or 3-0, for T1 to even push it to silver scrapes, it's a slight favorite at $1.77. So you're thinking about, if you're in American odds, minus 150-ish. Maybe not even that much. And then, of course, for the outright win, Damwon, heavy favorite. T1, still decent odds as of right now, 2-1 for them to win. Whereas for Damwon, you're looking at about almost 1-3. And then, of course, for your total number of games, they're not expecting silver scrapes. As you notice, for a 5-game series, you're at damn near 2-1.
That's a bet I'll take. I'll take the 5-game series bet.
Yeah, to bet $1, you'd win $2.75. That's not too bad, because all the heavy favorites are saying it ain't going to Silver Scrapes.
I hate to disagree with them, but I think this is going to Silver Scrapes.
Again, if you want it, go right ahead while the odds are good. Oh,
but anyways, speaking about 21 means 21 in the context of responsible gambling. Yes. 21, the game show, may not be seen tonight.
What?
But speaking of Life is Like a Game Show, it is 11 o'clock. This is about the normal time we would be doing Life is Like a Game Show. So we're going to take about a quick 15, 20-minute break here, folks. Stay tuned. We will be having Life is Like a Game Show here on the W2M net over most of your internet consumption channels. Stations. I should say that right. My name has been Brian Espinoza. I'm here with my co-host, Eric Watkins. I do want to thank you all so much for tuning in to League to the Max or whatever. This has been a feature presentation of the W2M network. You can find us online on all of your favorites podcast websites and apps. Apple Pods, Google Pods, Spotify, Spreaker, Stitcher, Podbean. I'm getting there. I'm starting to remember them all. There's more.
Castbox, Overcast, iHeartRadio.
I already said Spotify. Shut up. And for those of you who would prefer a visual accompaniment to your listening oral pleasure, you can also find us on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, and Twitch. Again, thank you so much for listening to League to the Max or whatever. We will see you all for another episode of League to the Max or whatever tomorrow for the deep dive on Gen G versus Edward Gaming. Again, stay tuned for those of you who are watching or listening live via our various social media platforms. We will be back in about 15 to 20 minutes, give or take, with our latest episode of Life is Like a Game Show with myself, my co-host here, Eric Watkins, the disembodied voice you keep hearing, trying to be a disembodied voice, Mr. Jonathan Nielsen.
Yep.
And I believe, unfortunately, Harry Broadhurst is on assignment this week.
He is.
So we got a lot to cover on that show as well. So again, we will be back sometime around 11:15 Eastern Standard Time. Daylight time, whatever.
Thank you.
I never.
However, remember, folks, we're only a week away from setting those clocks back.
All right. Well, that'll do it for us here at League to the Max or whatever. Again, stick around about 11:15 Eastern Daylight Time. We'll be back with a W2M net presentation of Life is Like a Game Show. See you tomorrow, everyone.